I have a question about an altered state of consciousness I experienced while talking to my granddad, and we have a really close relationship. I can remember three situations where this special state occurred while talking. It feels like a sudden out-of-body state. Maybe you could explain it to me. Thank you.
Well, if it feels like an out-of-body state, it probably is. We define out-of-body sometimes in a way that is, almost magical, and you're floating, above the ground and that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be like that. Out-of-body simply means you're not processing your physical sense data. It's there. And if you put your attention on it, you can be aware of it, but you're just not processing it. And you have a particularly close relationship, and you're talking to this person, and you're so totally engaged in that conversation and with that person that you stop processing the sounds, the feel of the chair you're sitting on, all of that stuff, the noise in the room just disappears entirely. And that actually is being out of your body. When you're no longer processing sense data, you're no longer here. Your mind is functioning, but it's functioning in a mental space, not in a physical space. So, Julian, that's why it seemed sort of like an out-of-body, because it was sort of like an out-of-body, except instead of just being kind of loose in the consciousness system and then having an intention to go somewhere or do something, you were engaged in this very entrancing situation with this communication. And that's a lovely space to be in, because you're 100% connected at that time with what you're doing. You don't have anything else going on, and that makes it very precious and very deep and very meaningful. And when you're like that, you're not just communicating with words. It's not just that you hear his words and he hears your words, but you're communicating in a more whole way. You're getting his feelings, his thoughts, his love, his caring, the connection that you have then becomes a lot more real and clear than just the words that you're exchanging. The words that you're exchanging are just kind of the icing on the cake. It's the part you identify with, but there's a lot more going on in that communication than just the exchange of words. And that's what makes it so special. And eventually, you'll find that easier and easier to do in all kinds of situations. In fact, eventually you grow up, you kind of live in that space. And that's your normal space. And that's a really good space to be in, because you can relate and connect with people. Even if they're not relating and connecting you in that way, you can relate and connect to them in that way. But when it's mutual, it's a kind of an awesome experience to have, because you're so connected and so much information's going back and forth, and the logical part of it, the linear part of it, the language is the small part of it. The rest of it is actually the more meaningful part. So that's what was going on. It is sort of like an out-of-body.
Thank you.
Would you like to see a better world? Get a better perspective. Balance your intellect with intuition, and explore your true nature with the Exploring Consciousness and Everything Paranormal program with Thomas Campbell. In this program, you will have the benefit of Tom's vast experience and learn to access point consciousness, communicate with the larger consciousness system, remote view, use your natural ability to heal with intent, and explore reality in the out-of-body state. His famous binaural beats are included. Details are in the description below. Thank you.